Hi, Copic in the Craft Room fans, Michelle Houghton here. Believe it or not, I have found another llama or alpaca, whichever you would like it to be. This again is from Tailored Expressions. It comes with a coordinating die as well. This little one comes with a set of faces that you can not only give it a little accessory wise, and this particular stamp comes with other stamp sets if you're interested, with other accessories that you can dress up your llama. Yes, you can. I stayed simple. Got the basic set, and I've got a little face stamped in place and a little sentiment off to the side. I decided to go a little darker. I usually use kind of those E7s or warm grays for my llamas, a lighter color, and this time I am going dark. So we're going to have some lighter colors on its little face and some darker colors for that curly fur because, of course, he's going to be curly. The best part of this llama is actually fairly simple. So even though I have sped up now to get that base color in, that E04, the rest of the llama I'm going to do in real time. I just figured if I can cut even just a little bit out, I can get you guys seeing how I do that kind of squiggly stroke that I do on all my little curly animals and llama friends. So I've got that base coat. Notice it is not smooth. It's very haphazard, and that's okay because what's coming in on top is going to be that texture. So the first thing I'm actually going to do is figure out or color some of these little areas that are left behind, which are the eyelids and the legs, and those are getting based with E50. They're going to get a touch of E53 at the corners of the eyelids just to make them kind of pop forward and round outward. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of that E53 on the legs to give, again, with an image this small, you wouldn't necessarily need to do that, but there you go. E02 is going on the little heart on the back end. And I'm going into the interior. Now, this is a lighter color than what I based the ears in. And so this is actually going to lighten up that inner ear just a little bit with that E02 and kind of pink it up as well. The next thing is the E50, kind of smoothing out those eyes or the eyelids specifically, and I'm even pushing back a little bit more on the interior of the ears. Time to add some of those darker colors. So E07 is what I'm starting for, and I'm putting a little tiny bit on the outer edges of the ears to start. So that I'm just flicking on kind of a normal stroke, nothing fancy. I figure the fur on those ears is super fine and short, and so then I'm coming down on the body and doing this kind of scribbly squiggle stroke that I do on all of my curly textured items. And you're going to notice that I'm going to avoid his little snout or his little face. So everything else, though, on the llama kind of neck and head and body gets this little scribble. And the trick with that stroke is that it is random. It goes back and forth. There's some curls or curves and some sharp edges as well. Once I've got that first layer of texture down, I come in with an E09 and I'm adding more. I'm not trying to hit like on top of the exact lines. It's just more random squiggles or scribbles. I am focusing this on the lower half of the llama, and then as I come up to the top of his back, it gets lighter, and so I'm spreading those out a little bit, and around the edge of the head, kind of out on those further edges, this is where I'm trying to start to add a little bit of shape on his body. The last color I'm going to add is a V99, and this is super dark. It also has a little bit of that blue, a true violet tone to it. So notice where I'm adding this. I've gone right along the underside of the belly and kind of up around the rump. And then I'm going to come at the very outer edges of that neck and head. And that, again, I'm trying to add shape. Even though this is a funny little cartoon guy, I'm just trying to give him a little bit of form so he's not totally flat, that he looks a little more puffy and has some shape to him. Now, I decided that I really wanted to actually lighten up his face a little bit. I felt like I've made it so he doesn't look like he has a face coming out of all of that, that he's like, that the nose doesn't come forward at all. So I grabbed the lightest marker I had currently in my work area, which is that E50, and it's a great way, instead of using my colorless blender, that I can also push color with that lighter E50. So I've come in around the face, so just around the mouth and nose area, kind of underneath the eyes, and I've circled in a little bit, and you can see how that's created a little bit of that face. And then I'm going to use the V99 again and add a few little squiggles underneath that shape I just created to make it look like it's got this little piece of a face kind of popping outward at us, at the viewer. So that's kind of an optional step, but I wanted to really give him a little more dimension than what is even on the stamp and give him a little more oomph. The optional step that I'm going to tell you about too is if you're a person who gets done with this and is like, all I can see is the squiggles, I don't see texture or fur, one step I will allow you to take is to go in with one of the lighter colors you used, and in this case I would use the E04, and you can brush super lightly over the entire llama again. You do one pass, that's it, no scrubbing, just one pass. And what that's going to do is it's going to soften the edges of all those little individual squiggles, and sometimes that's going to settle that a little bit more. I filled in the sentiment with that E04, and now I'm going to head out for some background. This I'm speeding up because you guys have seen me do this before. You can always slow it down on YouTube if you would like, but I'm starting with a G40, kind of up and down stroke with that broad nib. G43, this time with the brush nib, but again, just going up and down, random, giving that kind of grassy texture. A B000 is going to fill in a nice, smooth sky. To finish him up, I'm going back with that G43 one more time, adding a little bit more on that shadow, that cast shadow underneath, just deepening kind of the center of that shadow, so it does give the appearance again of him standing on that grassy knoll, and just kind of places him in space, and softening up, so G40 kind of brushing over some of that texture of the grass. Thank you so much for joining me today and letting me entertain you with another llama image. I'm sure there will be more to come. I hope you have a chance to stop by my blog at www.scrapweaver.com to see all of my doings and goings on these days. If you have any questions, never hesitate to ask. Everybody have a happy, colorful day.